this video, I'm gonna be pulling the motor and the gas tank out of this 71 bus. So obviously it's extremely rough. I got it for a decent price, but definitely it reflects. We got a couple speed holes, but that's not anything we can't fix. It's pretty complete too. I have quite a few parts for it, so. But yeah, this thing is front disc brakes. The guy I bought it from said that this motor was also actually rebuilt, so that's a plus. I'm not sure if it actually was. I'm just like taking it by ear, I guess, but I mean, it runs great, just not right now because I don't have spark. So I'm gonna pull the motor and the gas tank, put it all back in, and then try to figure out why it has no spark. Oh man. Good enough. All right, so I'm gonna get the exhaust off of this thing and this shroud. So that is the first order of business. Two flatheads on this side. And looks like a 10 mil. There it is. I feel like this thing should just get a completely new exhaust anyway, so I probably won't even be reusing this. The whole stud came out of this side. All right. Here's that. Yeah, that needs completely replaced. These are in horrible shape. All right, so now I'm gonna start taking off the wiring, and then I will move on to the bell housing bolts. No more flashlight. Now I gotta use my phone. There we go. I don't even know what's going on with this. Oh. Alright, well there's that. Okay, and the last things I just did was I removed the throttle cable, and I'm going to remove the rest of this harness. There's one wire on the coil, and it looks like the wire going to a sensor right there. What else do we got? I don't know, maybe I'll just find out when I'm dropping the motor and say bug it. So the bottom side of the transmission is all done. There's supposed to be two studs on the bottom, but there was a bolt and a nut, so I guess somebody removed the other stud. Now all I have to do is take off this nut right there, and the other side is missing, so that's the last one. Whole stud came out of that one. That one's somewhere. 16. How the fuck? Something happened. Cool. All right, there it is. Motor's all out. Could use a bath. Sweet. I'm gonna have to strap that transmission up and then we will continue tomorrow. Alright, so a few days have passed and I ended up pushing this thing outside because I had a few things to do in the garage, but we're gonna start pulling this plate off. There's just a bunch of Phillips screws and then we can get straight to the gas tank. Okay, all the screws are out. I ended up removing this, I think it's a voltage regulator. There's just 2 screws right there and that comes out so you can get that corner screw a little bit easier. I ended up finding some screws down here as well. So hopefully those come out and then this should just pop right out of there. Crazy. Straps are off. I'm gonna get this clamp right here to remove the filler neck. This thing is actually bone dry right now. So I wonder how clean it is. Yeah, there's a good amount of rust in there. So I'm gonna have to decide on if I want to buy a new tank or use this one. I decided I'm gonna keep the tank and I'm gonna try to clean it out. So I got a bunch of vinegar and basically it's gonna delete the rust. And then after I'll take baking soda and mix it with water and that will stop it from flash rusting. So I'm gonna try to get all the dust out of this thing, vacuum it out, and then pour a bunch of that in there and see what happens. I gotta plug that first. Throw this back on. Alright, guess it's time to fill this thing up. Alright, we got some light now. So, just start pouring this in. No leaks so far. Alright, that's 7.5 gallons. Oh! Tomorrow I'll just rotate it with this side facing upwards, so then it gets all in the back of the tank. Probably give it another day after that and then we will see the result. Okay, so the van's back in the garage now and I got the tank all cleaned out and ready to go. So I'll show you inside real quick. So the bottom of the tank was absolutely covered in rust, but now that's all cleaned up. There's still a little bit of surface rust around, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm just gonna run an inline filter and it should be just fine. So pretty happy with how it came out. So what I didn't realize when I sealed up the tank with the vinegar and just let it sit was the top of the sending unit is aluminum, and it just ate that up completely. So I ended up buying a new one, but no big deal. Kind of wanted to buy a new one anyway. It seemed like the float was sticking. So just bought this one off eBay. New sending units in, and that's the orientation of how it should go. And then the bottom, I thread taped this fitting just for some peace of mind that it wouldn't leak. And now we're ready to install this tank. So the gas tank is installed, and I'm going to install the cover and we'll get the motor in. Everything's tight and ready to go. Now I'm about to mount the motor back up. So I'm not sure if this metal fuel line is factory or not, but either way I'm just going to use this 1/4 inch rubber fuel line, and I'm just going to run it all the way from the tank to the carburetor, just because I don't really see a sense in splicing the rubber line to this metal line when it could just be all the same line. Motor's in and everything's tight. I just have to wire everything up, which is like a total of like 4 wires. This is my new exhaust system, so I'm going to install that right now. Exhaust is on and ready to go. Hopefully these flanges don't leak. They seem like they were a little loose, but other than that, it's all tight and looks pretty good. I like it. So I'm not getting any power to the starter, so I started tracing the starter wires back, and that's what I'm working with as far as that goes. So I'll go ahead and seal those back up, and then hopefully we'll be getting power to the starter. There's my splice job. It's not the prettiest, but it'll do. So all the wiring is hooked back up, and I put a battery in it. So now I'm about to see if it will crank over. Here we go. Oh, we're in gear. Hell yeah. There we go. Here's the points. It's just held in by a little flathead, and then you just unplug it. The points should be shiny, and they're looking dull right now, so I'm gonna get some sandpaper and just sand those down. Pulled one plug and it looks to be fouled, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull all the rest of them and just clean them off with a wire brush, and then hopefully we'll make this thing fire. She's alive, baby. It runs really good too, so super stoked about this. I have to adjust the idle, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, she starts right up. So next video we're gonna be putting a new shifter in, and then going from there, I guess. So see you.